Hey guys, I'm Dave Terry. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed my first two videos. Hope they helped you out some. In this video, I want to talk about setting up your drum kit and the proper way to do that. And just assuming you've gone out and bought a drum kit and you're just getting started and you got home and you got this big mountain of drums in your floor and you're wondering, okay, what do I do now? So I'm going to guide you through that and show you the proper way. And believe me, there is a proper way of setting up a drum kit. You don't just slap it together and then play. I mean, you can, but there is a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. So I'm going to show you the right way to do it. And but first of all, and this is a good tip for you. Make sure you choose a good room in your house or wherever you're planning on putting your drums. Make sure it's either a basement room, a bedroom or a den or something that's on the far end of your house, away from any neighbors that may be close by, or a garage or a building out back or something. Put your drums somewhere. If you're putting them in your house, put them somewhere that you're not going to tick your neighbors off, because let's face it, acoustic drums don't come with volume switches and they are loud. So you know, if you put them in your living room or out on your front porch, your neighbors are going to hate you. Trust me. So anyway, let's get started, and I'm going to show you how to put your drum kit together piece by piece. And all right, so first thing, set your kick drum where you want it. Now, I recommend that you have an area of about 8 feet by 8 feet. I mean, you're going to need some room for your drum kit. Even if you got a small, just a 4-piece drum kit, you're still going to need lots of room. Just remember that you're going to need to walk around the drum set to get in it, so make sure you don't set it up back in a corner and then you go to get behind it and you go, oh no, I got to move a hi-hat or something out of my way so that I can even get back there. So make sure you leave yourself plenty of room. When you set your kick drum up, make sure that you got at least 3 feet of room on each side of your kick drum to a wall. And from the kick drum, make sure you got at least 3 feet of room behind you. So save yourself plenty of room. But anyway, set your kick drum up. Just extend the feet out. If you're on carpet, make sure you pull the little pegs out of the end. If you're on hardwood floor or bare floor or whatever, slide the pegs in. Use the rubber feet. Go ahead and attach your bass drum pedal. Which in my case I'm using a double pedal. If that's the case, go ahead and attach to your double pedal. And then the next thing you're going to do is bring your stool or your throne or seat, whatever you want to call it. Bring that in, set that down, and which I've already done. So here's what you want to do. Sit behind your kick drum, and you want your right knee pointed directly at your kick drum. Put your foot, and this is just assuming that you're right-handed, and this is the way you play. If you're left-handed and you play the opposite, then just do everything I'm telling you, just the opposite. So place your foot on the pedal, and the correct positioning for your knee, and this will tell you how to set your stool. Your thigh should be 90 degrees. Your knee should be at the same level as your hip or lower. You don't want your knee higher than your hip, trust me, because you're going to wear your leg out playing. You'll end up with cramps. So make sure that your knee is at or lower the same level as your hip. So your thigh should be perfectly horizontal or slightly lower at the knee. And your lower leg, you should be either straight down or slightly extended out. You don't want to be sitting back so far that your leg is stretched way out to reach your kick drum. Don't do that. You want to be pretty much right over top of your kick drum pedal. So that's proper. If your knee is forward more than your foot, if your knee is past the position of your foot, you're going to wear yourself out. So sit back a little bit. Adjust the height of your stool so that your knee is at the same level as your hip or lower. Don't let your stool be so low that your knee is higher than your hip. Trust me. All right. So the next thing you want to do is bring in your snare drum. And I have my snare drum already mounted on its stand. Now the snare drum is going to go right between your legs. Go ahead and put your right foot back on the kick drum pedal. Set the snare drum in place. And if your knee is still pointed at your kick drum, you want the snare drum pretty much right there at your knee. You don't want it in the way of your knee. You don't want it touching your knee, just slightly over. And you don't want it so close to you that you're hanging over top of it, because you remember you're using sticks, and your sticks are long enough. If the drum is too close to you, then the tip of your stick is going to end up hitting the outside edge of your snare. You want the tip of the stick to hit the very center of the snare drum. So make sure it's not too close to you. You don't want it too far away from you either, but just you don't want it too close to you. So set your snare drum in place, just so that it's comfortable for you. And it's real easy to move around because it's on an individual stand. It's not attached to anything. So, anytime during your playtime, if you want to reposition it, you need to move it over here a little bit, move it over there. It's easy to move. All right, so the next piece of hardware we're going to bring in is the hi-hat stand. And my hi-hat is already attached to it. And I've made a few steps just to save some time in this video, but as you can see, my hi-hat is already mounted, and we'll slide that in place. And what you want to do now at this point is go ahead and grab you a pair of sticks. And with sticks in your hand, just see where you are as far as your hi-hat and your snare and your kick drum. Make sure that those three components are comfortable for you. And now let me tell you that what you see right here, this is a drum kit. This is the three most important components of your drum kit: your hi-hat, your snare, and your kick drum. The kick drum and the snare provide the beat. The hi-hat provides the timing for the song that you're playing. Think of the hi-hat as kind of like a metronome. When you're playing the hi-hat, that's what keeps your song in time. That's what keeps your beat in time. So the hi-hat is very important. But let me just show you real quick. Snare, kick drum, hi-hat, and all your toms. Everything else in your kit basically is secondary. You really don't even need the rest of the stuff in your kit. Of course, you want that stuff. You can't really do a lot of fills without toms, and crash cymbals are good, ride cymbals are good, but this is all you really need to make a beat. See, so anyway, now we got those set up, and you're comfortable with the way you have your hi-hat, your snare, and your kick drum. So then the next thing we're going to do is floor tom. Your kit, if you just bought a kit, more than likely you've got one floor tom, and that's great. I use two floor toms, and it just so happens that one of my floor toms is actually mounted to a cymbal stand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my bigger floor tom first. Alright, this is a 16-inch floor tom, and I know that that's going to be back here. I'm just going to set this back kind of out of the way for now, because the position of this is going to depend greatly on my first floor tom. And when I say floor tom, a floor tom is basically a tom that just sits on the floor with legs, and this other here is a floor tom. However, it has no legs, and it's mounted to a cymbal stand. So that being the case, I'm actually bringing in this cymbal at the same time. So anyway, I'm going to set this in position. And you're not really going to be able to judge how to put this in position until you actually sit down and and check it out. So anyway, pardon me. All right, so I have this floor tom in position, and basically the way you want your floor toms is with a pair of sticks. With a pair of sticks in hand, sitting back on your stool in the position that you had to start with. You want your floor tom, you want both your floor toms in a position to where you can reach them comfortably without having to reach way out. You don't want them right up on top of you, but remember the length of your sticks. You want your floor toms positioned so that you can just turn and bam, there they are. This one I'm actually going to pull in just a little bit. Maybe not quite that far. All right, so there you have it, floor toms. And if you notice, just keep them upper body straight. I'm not having to lean over or reach out, and you want to make sure that every piece of your drum kit is the same way. You don't ever want to have to reach out to get to any piece. You don't want to ever have to lean over or lean back. Keeping your upper body straight, the only thing you should have to do is turn. So floor toms, I just turn, there they are. Snare, hi-hat. So like I said, just don't put everything way too close to you. Don't put it too far away. Have it to where you just keeping your upper body straight. So now, okay, most drum kits, your drum kit probably has 2 mounted toms. My kit has 1 mounted tom, and this is just the way I've designed this kit. If you notice the mounting post here on the top of my kick drum, this drum set actually, when I bought it new, had 2 mounted toms, and actually I did, I took the second mounted tom, or the first mounted tom actually was an 8-inch mounted tom. I just don't use an 8-inch mounted tom, and so I just took it out. Matter of fact, it's over here on the floor. I just got rid of the 8-inch mounted tom just because I found it's sitting there and I never use it, so you know, why even have it in my kit? So then I use a 12-inch mounted tom, 14-inch floor tom, and a 16-inch floor tom. My kick drum is a 20 by 22. The snare drum in this kit, this is a 14 by 5.5. And now my stage DW kit, every piece in that kit is exactly the same as this kit except for the snare. The snare I use on stage at church is it's a 14 by 8. And so anyway, I'm gonna bring in my mounted tom, and just like my floor tom, just like this floor tom, my mounted tom is mounted with a bracket actually to my cymbal stand. So by doing this, actually saves me a lot of time as far as setup, because I've already got my cymbals set up and ready to go, and there it is. So, and like I said, you have to make some little minor adjustments as you go along. Set everything in your kit in place, and then you're going to come back. Like I need to move my snare back just a little. Move this tom over just a little. And like I said, you want to just make sure everything is in position so that you can reach without having to lean in too far. And the last piece of my kit is my ride cymbal. As you can see, my ride cymbal, I've got it mounted to a boom stand. And I do that just because I like my ride cymbal mounted right here. Now, you mount your drums and mount your cymbals any way. I mean, there's hundreds of configurations. You mount them any way you want to, whatever you feel comfortable with. Don't set your drum kit up just like I set my drum kit up. just because this may not work for you. This is the way I like my drum kit set up. I love just the one mounted tom because I don't really use a mounted tom as much as I do my floor toms. And the reason that I have two floor toms is because I love the deeper sound of the floor tom. So I use floor toms a lot more than I do mounted toms. That's why I've just got the one mounted tom, two floor toms. And then I love having my ride cymbal right here as opposed to over here. It just makes, for me, it makes for quicker and easier transitions. And you know, of course, my two crash cymbals are right here in easy reach. And then, you know, and a lot of people ask me, beginner drummers especially, ask me, why is the hi-hat always over here on your left? And they say that, you know, the problem I see with that is that you have to cross your arm over your snare arm. Okay, well, that's true, but, and that would work great if you were playing, say if you were just playing, if your hi-hat is over here, then, you know, it's easy to play that. But if you're playing this, if you're playing hi-hat with two hands, it's a lot harder to reach over here. Well, then if you're right-handed, when you go back to your snare, and that's going to create a lot of mistakes. So anyway, that's drum setup. Hope that helped you, and tune in for my next video, and I'm going to show you how to properly tune your drums. Thanks for watching.
Just to feel again.